Hi guys, welcome to another episode of AJAWI TV. I'm AJAWI, and for today we'll be talking about a topic that I find very interesting. That's prefabricated homes, right? One of you guys asked me to discuss this particular topic, and I must say that I am very excited about this particular topic, alright? So without any further ado, let's get into this.
All my life I had to fight, I ain't taking no ill, I paid the price. Remember them days we had no lights, now I'm up 2K, I ain't talking no spikes. Just drop me an amnesty.
Alright guys, so what really is prefabricated homes, right? Or prefabricated houses. Prefabricated houses are houses that are constructed within a controlled environment, right? And as the term suggests, which means that it is done before it really goes onto the construction site. So they actually make the building in a controlled environment, then they either transport it to the site as is already constructed, or they disassemble the structure and then move it to the actual site where they will reconstruct it again. All right, so that's what prefabricated housing really is. All right, so a lot of us might recognize the Matalan houses, right? And this is actually a very popular house within Portmore. If you live in a Portmore and you say you never see a prefabricated house before, then I don't know which part of Portmore you live, because almost all of Portmore, where you go in Portmore, you will see a prefabricated house, one place or another, because over there is popular for that. And that is what we call the Matalan houses, right? When you hear people say, boy, the Matalan house them, the little Matalan house for them selling, and that's what they're talking about. Those are actually prefabricated houses. So they're manufactured in a controlled environment, possibly within a factory, and then they are transported to the location. All right. So when I went to research this topic, it was very, very difficult to find information, because there isn't a lot of whether it's manufacturers or builders that does prefabricated houses within Jamaica, and I feel that it's because of the cost associated with it. Because it's very difficult to set up a system like that in Jamaica, right? The overall initial setup cost is very high, and as a result of that, that's probably why you would not see many companies like that within Jamaica. So a company that used to do, well, they still do prefabricated housing, but they don't do it for the public or for regular homeowners. If it is that you're going to buy your house and then, as a one-off person, then they don't really do that anymore, though they did it in the past. And you might know this name, Astrom. Astrom is a company that actually did prefabricated houses for regular homeowners, but right now they don't do it anymore. I actually called them and I acted as if I was going to buy a house from them, just to speak to them in a genuine manner. They indicated that they do not do prefabricated houses for regular customers anymore, but they do. If it is that you're looking at, let's see, where do I remember them doing one? They did one set of unit in Olaba, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, they don't do it for regular walking customers. Like if you want to build on your own land, they're not going to do that. And I think it's because of the pros and cons of it. But before we get into that, the next company that I know that does prefabricated houses is actually Fast Homes. Now, unlike Astrom that actually does concrete houses, because that's what Astrom does. Astrom does concrete prefabricated houses, so they do it in a factory. They have their own factory set up where they do their construction in a controlled environment. Now, Fast Homes does steel structures, as in they have a steel structure, steel system, kind of like, what did I say, drywall type thing, where they put in some studs and then they put on, I think it's concrete board on it. I don't necessarily think that a lot of Jamaicans will go for it. I don't know, but since they're in business, then obviously it is working for them. But I personally, when I think about it, I'm wondering if it would be cheaper when compared to somebody who decides that, hey, I'm going to just do my building out of timber, because shouldn't the aluminum that they use cost more? But I guess that's something that I should actually ask them, so I guess we'll have to be doing a part 2 to this video. But when you think about it, for them to assemble a structure, put it together within a controlled environment, and then disassemble it and make sure that they mark the small pieces where each piece will go, and then put those pieces together and then ship it or wait I said transport it to site, then it's something that is very difficult. I guess you'll have to have a well-trained team to actually reassemble it, whereas the prefabricated system that Astrom does, which is a concrete structure, you might not necessarily need a set of team that I don't want to say that they're not as technical, but when you're dealing with concrete, there's wait I say a little leeway. It's not like you mark each stud and the person have to remember exactly where that particular stud is supposed to go. What you'll have is, steel work, then you have a form or a system that you pour into, then you take off the forms, in the case of Astrom, and then you go in and do your finishes. So I guess when you look at it that way, I personally would not necessarily be thinking about the Fast Home option, because when you talk to Jamaicans, their concern is always safety. Their safety as it relates to if a man fire a shot in at them house, if it will go through the wall and damage them personally, but which that's not really happening. Anyways, we won't get into that. But those are the two options that I see right now, because I tried to look for Matalan homes as it relates to prefabricated, and I don't see any. So we'd have to do a little bit more research on that. Now here's the thing, the pros and cons, right? I personally think that for a regular homeowner, right, somebody who does not have a lot of resources, a prefabricated house would be very expensive, in my opinion. They might get away with cutting costs as it relates to waste, but you're now looking at an entire structure that you have to transport to a site. Now this will take a lot of coordination, a lot of pre-planning and stuff like that, and a lot of equipment to actually bring it to your site. Also, when you're transporting it to the site, right, you're looking at engaging a truck that can actually carry that load and that size. So you're now looking at a limitation as it relates to the size of the structure. because now you know that a trailer flatbed is X wide, right? You know that the overhang that the building can possibly be is X wide. So therefore you're now limiting the structure itself, which means that they're going to have to do as a box. So you can't really have any, you know, exotic shapes and stuff like that, which Jamaicans love. But you're looking at a box, right? First of all. Secondly, you're looking at a situation where if it is that you're going to need a certain size building, then you're going to have to cut the building or split it up, right? So it's going to now be modular. So it's more than one pieces that you're going to have. And then you're going to have to bring that to the site, reassemble that. So even though the concrete structure is already finished, and when it reach on site it might take a day to set up, and you can possibly move in that day or two, you're looking at a situation where the building is in pieces. So you have one, say your living room, dining and kitchen on one half, and the bedrooms on the other half. Then when you go on site you fit them together. Now you're going to need to think about the terrain that you're traveling, right? To transport that in certain terrain. So if it is that you live on a hillside where you know the truck it's going to be very difficult for the truck to get up there, and they have to be meandering and stuff like that. That to me is a recipe for disaster. Even though it is possible, it just means that there will be a lot of coordination in place that is going to cost. When you reach on site is another thing. You're now going to have to be looking at, you need a crane to lift the structure, right? You need to have a crane readily available on site to lift it and drop it in place. You're going to need manpower to really coordinate how the structure is placed as it relates to the two coming together perfectly, or almost perfectly, because nothing is perfect. So it takes a lot of coordination and a lot of manpower. It just takes a lot of streamlining of people and all of that. So I think that by the time you really get down to it, the cost is gone way up. So even though you have a prefabricated building that might have cost you a little bit less because it's less waste of material, when it comes on to the coordination and manpower and actual trucks and stuff like that, transportation, all of that, your cost is going to be going up. So for a regular person who is looking to build, prefabricated houses might not be for you. I can be wrong. So, you know, what can I say? Now, as it relates to the fast homes option, which most of the times, the concerns that people have when they speak to me about building a home is that they're thinking about safety or their security, and really and truly they're thinking about, okay, if somebody fire a shot, is it going to come through my window or my well, it will come to your window, but is it going to come through the walls and, you know, kill off my family and stuff like that? So from that perspective, I don't know if that would have been an option that a lot of people will consider, because you're looking at them using concrete board, right? When they disassemble that and bring it to site, every single screw has to be accounted for, every single piece has to be accounted for, and that has to be reassembled on site. So it will be a bit easier to transport to the site, because once it is taken down, it can be packaged in a smaller, more manageable size. But at the same time, once it comes on to reassembling, then it will take a certain amount of attention to detail as it relates to the person on site. So you're looking at more skilled people. All right. Now, let me put it this way. When you're looking at prefabricated house for regular people, right, that are doing construction, at the end of the day, we have to look at it from a cost point perspective. Is it going to be cheaper than if I was to really do my construction myself, or have a contractor come in and do the actual construction? But you have to also look at it from the perspective of what kind of end result do we want, right? It might be cheaper because you're now looking at aluminum, or looking at aluminum, right? I personally would have rathered if I was to use timber, and I do my construction pretty cheap at the end of the day. But I guess because aluminum can be manufactured, let us say, in mass, so you can have a mass production of aluminum, then it will be a little bit cheaper. So that's my perspective on that. As it relates to the concrete now, it's going to be expensive because there's a lot of coordination, there's a lot of factors to consider. At the end of the day, the construction process will be faster, the amount of waste will be reduced, so therefore the cost might go down. But when you actually think about it, and think about it from the perspective of the actual transportation and movement to site, that is something to consider. So personally, I would not go for prefabricated houses, because Jamaicans like style. They want them house to have some curves, or they want them house to shape a certain way and stuff like that. So it's not something that I would think about, because once you're looking at prefabricated house, then you're looking at a modular structure, and the fact that it is modular means that you have very little options. In fact, the ones that I saw, wow, they were not very attractive if you ask me. They're not necessarily the most beautiful set in the bunch. The buildings are really, they're just boxes, and these boxes are set a certain way, they're designed a certain way, and that's just it. You as the homeowner cannot really go in and say, hey, I want this to be this way when you're constructing it, and at this location I want this, that location no, that's not the case. They have already done something, right? They have something in place. They bought forms for a certain design, and you are going to have to select that, and that's it. No changes. You can add on when you're ready. You can probably paint it a different color. That's pretty much the options that you get. But as it relates to the different options of really designing your home, not much options in that. All right. I guess the fast homes option could possibly give you a little bit more options, but based on what I see, not a lot of options. Again, it's just a box you get in. So do you really want that as a home? So that's really the question. So that's my view on it. It's an option that you can possibly consider, but not for me. Not for me. This one left me speechless, guys. especially from the perspective of me actually doing drawings for houses and stuff like that. Yeah, when I looked at the options that are there, I'm like, wow. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope my views were not too, too much left. So all right, but thanks for the question. I really appreciate that particular question, and I enjoyed actually looking into it. So I want you to hit the like button, hit the share, hit the subscribe. Guys, we're almost at, probably by the time you see this video, I'll probably be at 1,000 subscribers. But we're almost there right now. When I am shooting this video, I'm almost at the 1,000 mark. So I want to say thank you guys. Thanks for liking, thanks for sharing, thanks for subscribing. I want to do a giveaway, but I'm trying to get things in place before. Why I want to do a giveaway? I did a giveaway last year, not to really grow the channel, but to really it was really more of a promotional thing for my business. But I want to do a giveaway for the channel once we hit the 1,000 mark, right? So it can't be too expensive. I'm talking to somebody right now to see if I can even possibly do some masks, to do some shirts or something for a show and say, yo, I appreciate you. Or maybe I just decide that, hey, the next person that I do a drawing for that actually come from this channel, I'll give them a nice discount. That might be the giveaway. But I want to say thank you for being a part of this family, because I consider you guys to be family, right? So thanks for being a part of the AJAWI family. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I post videos, and leave your comments below. Right, send your requests, what you want me to look at next. I am really here to serve you, and I want to know what you want to find out. All right, so thanks again, and I'll see you next time.